Hi, I'm David Bell. Welcome to this episode of Through the Year with John Wesley. How should we live? It's an open question, and it's also the title of a book by David O. Williams. Now, this is an extraordinary book. It's a few brilliant insights, certainly large doses of wisdom and compassion aplenty, and lots of wrong turns, out-of-date ideas, and only half-thought-through theology, which has been drawn from a wide spectrum. In other words, a work of practical theology from a creative thinker. And once in a while, it's sublime and it's peppered with lots of insights into better daily living. Doc Williams, as ministry students called him, was for 24 years a staff member of Trinity Theological College and served the last 8 as principal. Now, this book is the product of all those years, but it wasn't published until David Williams was on his deathbed in December 1986. The first copy off the printing press came into his hands a day or so before he died. All in all, 21 students and 3 staff members were involved in the production run, which was overseen by Reverend Dave Mullen. Dave was the field worker in ministry for the college at that time, and he too hit upon a number of very practical ideas for ministry. He'd run a successful little in-house publishing enterprise for the college, but some church authorities didn't like it. In his autobiography, Dave says how one member of the college council growled about whether Trinity College was a theological college or a publisher. It was discontinued. What an error of judgment. The first publishing venture of Colcom Press sprang up as an immediate replacement. The truth is, very few ideas can put a theological college on a map. They're mostly relics of the past, and they have to find new, innovative ways of being contemporary. Publishing was one such way, but someone killed the goose that was going to lay many golden eggs of biblical, theological and pastoral knowledge. Certainly wasn't the first occasion, and it won't be the last. The church hierarchy have made bizarre and inept decisions. That's life. I suppose the unfortunate fact is it not only erodes confidence in the church at large, but also confidence in the power players, the decision makers themselves. That's one reason why I so admire John Wesley. He was ever mindful of the faith legacy to be created through imaginative publishing, letting faith explore and interact with the contemporary. In this case, the college's loss was Colcom's gain. How Should We Live was a splendid first effort, and many other notable books came after, not the least being the J.J. Lewis series on biblical insights. Altogether, Dave Mullins took Colcom to some 130 publications. I've personally observed over a lifetime of being a Methodist presbyter that history rarely turns out the way that church authorities or any authorities want to write it. Many of our most creative folk in the life of the church always leave records of other ways of looking at events. Principal Williams is among such folk. His book blends creative insights and notes and reflections from an unusually talented individual. Principal Williams wasn't the easiest character among New Zealand Methodism's pastoral ministers. His appointment and tenure as principal was marked by some rancour and what seems to have been petty jealousy. Evangelicals had the greatest difficulty. Why? I think his cogent insights into the nature of counselling and various kinds of psychotherapy came across as far more credible explanations than the evangelical mind could cope with. The award of an earned D.Lit is not given lightly. It's an achievement that indicates a rare depth of knowledge and powers of analysis and synthesis beyond the ordinary. His critics have always ignored that outstanding achievement and instead weighed him up against imagined doctrinal purities. In Williams, there's a dialogue at the most critical intersection for the church: faith, theology, philosophy, pastoral practice. Here's a little known fact. Williams critically engaged with the ideas of evolution and biological determinism from Richard Dawkins' book The Selfish Gene, published in 1976. And Dawkins is not mentioned by anyone in the Methodist Church of New Zealand in any significant way until Dr. Jim Stewart raised it decades after that, well into the 21st century. It burst upon Touchstone's front page, that's the National Church newspaper, in a way that couldn't be ignored any longer. In all those decades, the evangelical agenda hasn't produced any gains for the church, but a slew of people have wanted to talk about Dawkins and science and philosophy. To sum up, Doc Williams, his book, and the little sidebar history of Methodism's suppression of knowledge in the Colcom Press case continue to generate rich theological and pastoral insights. Subscribe and join me again next week when we look at how New Zealand Methodism has made its way in the wider world with Colin Gibson's hymns. And thanks for watching.